Senior year felt like the peak of my life. Everything was falling into place. Grades perfect, reputation solid, acceptance letter from Harvard waiting in my inbox. My parents cried when they saw it. My friends cheered like I'd won the lottery. And me, I just felt relief. Years of pressure finally meant something. That's when Ava showed up. We known each other since middle school. She was loud, funny, and always had a way of making people look at her. Not because she was mean, but because she knew how to shine. She made everyone laugh, but somehow she always wanted more. Attention was her oxygen. We started talking in chemistry class. She teased me for being too serious. I laughed, and she smiled like she'd just won a game. By the next week, she was texting me during class. Flirting came easy to her. It was new for me, but I didn't mind. She made everything feel lighter. We started dating in October. It wasn't planned. She'd leave notes on my locker, sneak snacks into my backpack, whisper jokes in my ear. It was high school love, fast, silly, warm. For a while, it felt perfect. But things changed when Harvard came up. The day I told her, she smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. She said, "So you'll just leave, forget all of us." I told her it wasn't like that. I said I wasn't leaving until fall, that we still had time. She nodded, but the air got heavier after that. She started calling more, texting more, needing me to answer every time. If I didn't, she'd say, "You don't care about me anymore." It was exhausting. My friends noticed first. One of them said, "Man, Ava's got you on a leash." I laughed it off, but deep down I knew he was right. She showed up unannounced, checked who I was with, and made me feel guilty for studying. She didn't like my friends, said they were bad influences. She said she just wanted to spend time with me, but it never felt like love. It felt like control. Still, I stayed. I thought she just needed reassurance. I thought she'd calm down. I was wrong. As graduation got closer, she became unpredictable. One day she'd be sweet, the next she'd accuse me of ignoring her. Her moods flipped like switches. I told myself it was stress, senior year pressure. But something darker was growing in her eyes, envy. She once said, "You make everything look easy." I told her it wasn't easy. She just smiled and said, "Must be nice being you." I didn't realize it then, but that was the beginning. The moment her love started turning into resentment. The moment she decided that if she couldn't have the life I had, she'd make sure I lost it too. And I didn't see it coming. Not from her. Not from the girl who used to draw hearts on my notebook. But sometimes, the people closest to you are the ones who hold the match. And I was standing next to all the fuel in the world. The night of graduation felt calm at first. Everyone was celebrating the end of high school. Music, cheap beer, people laughing too loudly by the lake. Ava said she wasn't in the mood to come. I didn't argue. I needed a break from her moods anyway. So I went with my friends, Jason, Mark, and Leo. We talked about college, dreams, and freedom. No drama, no fights, nothing unusual. Just kids pretending they were ready for adulthood. When I got home, I slept like a rock. The next morning, everything was gone. My phone was filled with missed calls, messages, and rumors. Someone said a sophomore girl had been assaulted at the party. No one knew who did it. Just whispers about a popular group of seniors. That was us. Within 24 hours, the police were at my door. Someone had made an anonymous call. They said I was acting suspicious that night. They said I was with the girl. I was. But the moment my name was mentioned, the truth stopped mattering. My parents looked at me like they didn't know who I was. My mom cried until her voice broke. My dad just paced the living room, silent and furious. They searched my phone, my laptop, everything. Every text, every photo, every stupid meme I'd ever sent. They didn't find anything. But the damage was already done. Once people hear your name in an accusation like that, you're guilty forever. Ava came by once during the investigation. She cried, said she believed me, said she'd always stand by me. Her voice sounded rehearsed. The next day, she stopped answering my calls. By the end of the week, she was gone. No texts, no visits, no support. Just a cold message. I can't handle this, I need space. Space. That word hit harder than anything. I wasn't angry yet, just numb. The police kept digging. My friends and I were interrogated for hours. They took our phones, searched our houses, asked the same questions again and again. It didn't matter that the girl couldn't identify anyone. It didn't matter that we had witnesses. The story had already spread. People at school unfollowed me overnight. Some posted vague messages about believing survivors. I understood their fear, but it still felt like being buried alive. Weeks turned into months. And then, just like that, the case died. No evidence. No proof. Just silence. They sent a letter saying no charges would be filed at this time. That's how they phrased it. Cold, detached. Like they hadn't destroyed a life in the process. Harvard withdrew my acceptance soon after. They said they couldn't take the risk. No trial, no conviction, but still punished. I remember reading that email and feeling my stomach drop. It was like watching the future vanish line by line. Ava never reached out again. Not even to ask if I was okay. She just disappeared, while I was left to drown in the mess she started. And the worst part, I still didn't know it was her. Not yet. I thought she was just another person who gave up on me. I didn't realize she was the one who lit the fire. The one who called my name in the dark and walked away smiling. The case ended quietly, but the silence was worse than the noise. People moved on. I didn't. I was still the guy who almost went to prison for something I didn't do. I couldn't walk into a room without feeling eyes on me. Whispers followed like shadows. I stopped going out. I stopped answering messages. College started, but I didn't go to Harvard. They had already erased me from their list. I ended up at a small local university, one no one cared about. No dorms, no new friends, no fresh start. Just long drives to class and longer nights staring at the ceiling. I kept my head down. People there didn't know me, and that was a relief. But I still carried the weight of every headline that never existed. I wasn't studying for a degree anymore. I was studying to survive. My mom forced me into therapy. The therapist said words like healing and closure. I didn't need closure. I needed the world to admit it tried to destroy me for nothing. But no one said sorry. No one ever does. Even after you're cleared, the label sticks. You start seeing danger in every smile. Every question feels like a trap. I built walls around myself, one conversation at a time. Trust became a memory I didn't want back. I stopped laughing. I stopped feeling. I turned myself into a machine. Wake up. Study. Work. Sleep. Repeat. That was the rhythm of my new life. I finished classes early, overloaded on credits, took extra internships. If I couldn't have Harvard, I'd have something better, control. Control over my record, my future, my story. I didn't want justice anymore. I wanted power. That's why I chose law. Not because I cared about defending anyone, but because I wanted to understand the system that broke me. If it ever came for me again, I'd be ready. And I got good. Too good. I learned how people lie. How they twist truth until it looks like honesty. I could read them in seconds, tone, eyes, posture. It became instinct. People said I seemed intense. I didn't correct them. Fear keeps people honest. Ava faded from my mind during those years. I told myself she was just a stupid high school mistake. I I never checked her social media. Never asked mutual friends. I buried her behind deadlines and legal documents. Sometimes her name would flash in my head at night. Just a whisper of what she'd done. But I pushed it away. Because if I ever stopped to feel it, I'd never move again. By the time I was 24, I'd built a new version of myself. Harder, colder, untouchable. The kid with dreams was gone. All that was left was the man who'd been burned once and learned never to trust fire again. The reunion invite showed up in my inbox like a ghost. 10 years since graduation. 10 years since the lie that wrecked my life. At first, I deleted it. I wanted no part of that past. But then Jason called. He said he was flying in, wanted me to come. Said it would be fun, just like old times. I owed him that much. So I went. The event was fancy. Too fancy for the people who once threw food in the cafeteria. Everyone wore their best smiles, rehearsed stories about careers and families. The air reeked of fake success. Jason looked the same, just older, louder, still loyal. We laughed for the first time in years. For a moment, I almost forgot. Then I saw her. Ave. Across the room, in a fitted black dress, hair perfect, confidence glowing like it never left. She noticed me instantly. Of course she did. And she came straight over, smiling like nothing had happened. Ethan, I can't believe it's really you, she said. Her hand touched my arm like she had the right to. Yeah, I said flatly. You look amazing, she continued. Wow, you really bounced back. Bounced back. That phrase cut through the noise like a blade. It wasn't a compliment. It was acknowledgement. She knew what she'd done. She just didn't care. She talked nonstop after that. About her job at a wellness company, about mindfulness, about finding peace. She even said she'd always believed I was innocent. I let her talk. I watched her eyes, her hands, the way she touched her necklace when she lied. Old habits never die. She asked if I wanted to catch up sometime, grab coffee. I said maybe. She smiled like that was enough. Jason leaned over after she left. You okay? He asked. Yeah, I said. Just weird seeing ghosts. But I couldn't stop thinking about that line. Bounced back. The way she said it felt like a test. Like she wanted to see how much I remembered. That night, I didn't sleep. I went through old files, backups, anything from high school. Emails, photos, text logs, everything I'd saved before my phone got seized. Hours passed until I found something. A reference to the anonymous call. The one that started it all. My lawyer once mentioned the voice sounded like a young woman. Back then, I ignored it. Now I couldn't. I made a few calls, pulled some strings through an old contact in law enforcement. Days later, I had the file. A 20-second audio clip. The voice was muffled, trembling, pretending to be concerned. But I knew it. I'd heard it in hallways, in late-night calls, in every fake apology she'd ever given. It was Ava. Her voice. Her lie. 10 years of doubt collapsed into one sickening truth. She had done it. She was the reason my life burned. And she'd looked me in the eye at that reunion and smiled like she'd never struck the match. I didn't explode. I didn't scream or call her out. The old me would have. But 10 years had changed something inside me. I wasn't looking for chaos. I wanted precision. If she had burned my future with one lie, I'd dismantle hers one truth at a time. I opened our old chat thread. Typed a simple message. Hey, about that coffee, you free next week? She answered in 3 minutes. OMG, yes, I'd love that. Of course she would. She had no idea she'd just walked back into the fire. When we met, she was glowing again. Talking too much, smiling too wide. She told me about her job at a wellness company. Said she led a small team, working toward a promotion. Said she'd changed, grown, healed. Every word tasted like lies. I listened, smiled when I had to, nodded in all the right places. Inside, I was cataloging everything she said. Every name, every company, every detail. After that day, I started digging. Public records, LinkedIn, company registries, all of it. I had tools now, skills law school gave me. I could find anything if I looked hard enough. And I found plenty. Fake credentials. Jobs she never actually held. A certification from a coaching institute that no longer existed. Even her college record was incomplete. She built her career on sand. But that wasn't enough. I wanted the ground under her to crack. I remembered how she once bragged about handling her mom's bills. Said she managed their accounts after her parents split. So I followed that thread. Her mom had unpaid liens years ago, yet they'd been paid off quickly. Too quickly. I traced transactions, found a shared bank account. Ava's name was there. Small withdrawals, disguised as bill payments. Enough to look innocent, but not enough to stay hidden. She, stolen from her own family. That was my leverage. I built a folder, every document, screenshot, transaction. Titled it insurance. Then I got creative. I made burner accounts, posted vague comments on local forums. Anyone else work at Serenity Wellness? Weird stuff happening in HR. People love gossip. They start connecting dots that don't exist until they find one that does. Next, I drafted an anonymous email to her company's ethics hotline. Detailed, professional, believable. Mentioned fake resumes, false references, financial misconduct. Attached enough to make them curious. And then I waited. Still texting her like nothing happened. Still meeting for coffee. Still pretending. She talked about how stressful work had been lately. I smiled. Said, that's life. It catches up eventually. She laughed, clueless. A week later, my contact in compliance texted me. Her company had opened an internal review. Someone had flagged Ava Collins. I didn't reply. I just stared at the message for a while. Because that was it, the first domino tipping over. I didn't need to push anymore. The truth was already moving, and soon it would crush her on its own. It started small. A few whispers at her office. A couple of nervous glances from coworkers. Then it spread. By the third week, she texted me. Hey, do you think someone trying to mess with my job? I stared at the message and smiled. 5 minutes later, I replied. Why, what happened? She said HR was reviewing everyone's records. I knew that was a lie. They were reviewing hers. I met her for coffee the next day. She looked tired, hands shaking slightly when she stirred her drink. I don't understand, she said. I've done nothing wrong. I shrugged. Maybe someone's jealous. She looked up fast. Jealous? I nodded. Or maybe it's just karma. Her smile faltered. That word landed exactly how I wanted it to. A week later, rumors turned into reality. Her department leaked that HR had opened an official audit. She stopped posting on social media. Stopped texting me every day. Then, one night, there was a knock on my door. When I opened it, Ava stood there. Eyes red. No makeup. No fake confidence. Just panic. Are you doing this to me? She asked. Doing what? I said calmly. This, she snapped. The rumors, the background checks, the calls, everything. Are you trying to ruin me? I tilted my head. Why would I do that? She froze for a second. That flicker in her eyes told me she knew. Knew I knew. She looked smaller now, like the truth was eating her alive. It feels like someone's targeting me, she whispered. And you're the only one I still talk to. I leaned against the counter, arms crossed. You ever think maybe it's just the universe balancing things out? Her breath hitched. What are you talking about? I walked to my desk, picked up a small flash drive, and held it up. Here, I said. Listen. I plugged it in. The room filled with her voice, 10 years younger, trembling, pretending to care. The call that started everything. Her eyes went wide. She stopped breathing. I let it play to the end. When it finished, I turned to her. You don't have to say anything, I said softly. I just wanted you to know that I know. Tears rolled down her cheeks. I was young, she said. I was stupid and jealous. Save it, I cut her off. You had a decade to tell the truth. She sank into the chair, shaking. What are you going to do with it? I looked at her. I already sent it. Maybe HR has it. Maybe your mother, maybe both. Her face drained of color. You didn't. Maybe I did, I said. Maybe I didn't, you'll never know. She started crying harder. I felt nothing. No pity. No anger. Just calm. You should leave, I said quietly. She stood, trembling, and walked out without another word. When the door closed, the silence felt clean. A few weeks later, I heard she quit her job. No statement. No goodbye. Just gone. Her LinkedIn vanished. Her friends stopped tagging her. And I slept for the first time in years. Not happy. Not healed. But free. Sometimes revenge doesn't need noise. Sometimes it's just the sound of a door closing behind you. Weeks turned into months. Her name stopped showing up anywhere. No updates, no posts, no trace. It was like she never existed. People moved on, and so did I. Not in a dramatic way, just quietly. I didn't celebrate. There was nothing to celebrate. You don't win after losing 10 years of your life. You just stop bleeding. I still double-check my locks at night. Still keep everything backed up twice. But I'm not afraid anymore. I learned that peace doesn't come from forgiveness. It comes from control. From knowing the person who destroyed you can't touch you again. Ava once said she believed in karma. Maybe she was right. It just took 10 years to find her. I didn't ruin her. I just showed her reflection to the world and let it decide. Now when I think of her, I don't feel rage. Just silence. The kind that says it's finally over. Sometimes revenge isn't about making them suffer. It's about walking away knowing they finally understand what they did. And that's enough.